Hi guys, Super Secret Tech here, and I was just going to do a little video tutorial of how to use the beta. We've had several people in our clan that have used Magic Online that have had a really hard time with going over the new client, so I figured I would go with the process of building a deck. Um, the easiest way is to click Add a Deck. If you have it saved as a text file, you can import it. And boom, it's an instant import, which makes it really nice and handy. However, if you don't feel like going through all the files to get to where your decks are saved in the current format, you can still build them throughout here, even though it's a little bit harder. Um, go with standard, and we'll do it Johnny. Now you can click where it says format, click standard, and it'll select all your standard legal cards. I'm going to make a blue and white and red deck. Um, just because I really like Aetherling, I really like War Leader's Helix. It's very much my playstyle. And all you had to do is just click on the cards to add them. You can also right click and hit add 2 or 4 or however many. And apparently sometimes it doesn't want to work. Just another fun thing that the beta does. It isn't a final version, and that's something to be very cognizant of, is that it's not a finished product, and so you can't treat it like it's a finished product because you're just going to be disappointed. What else do I want to put in here? Probably some hollowed founds, probably some steam vents. One of the other things that I, in particular, um, have more or less gotten used to, even though I wish I hadn't, is just the interface itself is kind of clunky. It's not the best laid out in the world, but, you know, hopefully that will get better as time progresses and they have more time to really work on it. And if you notice my mouse clicks, a lot of times I am having to click 2 or 3 times on any given card. It's annoying, but, you know, there's worse things out there. And that's the key thing to keep in mind, is that, in case y'all haven't figured out by now, I like my foils. And so here we have just a thrown together standard deck. Okay, so it's saved under new deck. Then if we want to make a change to the name, you just right click and go to properties. And we probably don't want to call it new deck. We'll call it blue, white, red test. The label's fine. I'm happy with the Johnny because he gets white and red. So I know at least that there's a semblance of that. Um, the, the thing I don't like on this one, and it takes a lot of getting used to, is the fact that it's a lot harder to filter. Um, And it's also, like, I like the binder feel. I thought that that was a good way of making it feel like a real life um, client. You know, it made it feel real. The other thing I don't like is that the tournaments aren't separated. It's all one group. Um, while it can be handy to have it that way, um, I didn't see this like that. It just lags sometimes. And then it's hard to see descriptions on here. Like, they don't lay out descriptions well, so it makes it really hard to find games. Um, and so those are some of the things I really don't like about it. But they're, again, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm enjoying that one. Let's try this one. Just to give you an idea of actually playing a game on here, as well as building a deck. Waiting for more players to join. Like the host isn't there. Okay, I'm just gonna throw one up. Okay, and then you'll notice that it says game starting in 3, 2, 1. Like, I would prefer if that wasn't there, and it just started the game. Um, for multiple windows, you can run it this way. Oh, that's not a bad hand, I'll keep that. Or you can just maximize it. The only downside is when you maximize it, is everything underneath it just kind of gets ignored. So if they try to chat to you, you can't. So it takes out a social element of the game to make it user-friendly, um, which I think is overall pretty bad. And hopefully that gets fixed before it goes live. The colors are a lot better than they used to be. It's a lot more neutral. The old one was very brown and very dingy looking. You know, gray and gold and black are good colors that most people can, you know, find appealing. And we got an error report. Fantastic. I'm not going to block that. Think twice. I'm going to go ahead and burn this creature. Notice there's no arrows, but if you highlight over the spell, it'll show where it falls on the stack, which is kind of neat. That symbol means that it has summoning sickness. I don't know why my foil animation's off. I guess when they reset settings, they reset all settings. So I'm going to have to go back in and change that. Also, you have to reset your undo because the keyboard Alt-U that's common, you know, throughout almost all of programming for Windows doesn't work, which is another thing that they did really well in D3 is that they used common Windows commands for more advanced users, which they completely took that out of this version. You had to set up your own bindings, which is kind of nice because you can set up custom bindings that you like. However, it gets really frustrating because you always have to reset changes. They don't save stuff very well here. Since this creature has vigilance, it doesn't turn sideways, but if a creature doesn't have vigilance, it actually turns them sideways, which again is kind of cool. I do like the fact that it expands the red zone only when I need it to. That's a setting. You can also keep it where the red zone's always there, but I find that that's just frustrating. Is it just taking up extra board space for no reason? You know, normally you just inch it forward and inch it back on a playmat to show that you're gonna attack with it. You know, or turn it right. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll just replay them. Oh, that's not nice. Hate a spell so I can get my creature to resolve. I'm fine with him using tear removal on a creature. You know, as you can tell by watching my deck, I don't really have a whole lot of creatures in here. A lot of it's instants and sorceries. That's why I use a lot of the creatures I use. But I'm fine with him wasting a lot of removal to kill my creatures. Means I can use my removal to burn his face. As you can see, the target doesn't use arrows. Instead, grays everything out, but only if you scroll over this card. If you leave it alone, you don't know it's targeting. So that's kind of confusing. Hopefully that'll be better implemented once the client goes live. And a lot of this stuff hopefully is going to be a lot better once client goes live. You know, because V3 wasn't that great when it first came out, and it's become a pretty good client. Like, there are some things in V2 that I really, really liked, and I wish that they would have kept. Like, I enjoyed the fact that when you played a game, you actually sat down at a table with your avatar. Like, that was really cool to me. And avatars really took a backseat in V3. It's the same thing in the beta. You know, one of the few things you can customize in the beta is actually the avatar. So you can make your own avatars for each one, which is kind of neat if you're into customization alteration. The thing I don't like is that they don't let you skin it, and they only have one theme available. And so I really wish they would open up the ability to skin it if they're not going to support themes, because that lets us as users individualize ourselves. And especially like bigger clans like the one I'm in, Serial Killers, um, like we have a custom V3 skin. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll see it. That it's just very different than the typical Wizards of the Coast skin. And I understand them not wanting us to do that because they want their proprietary version used. But at the same time, it's, you know, about individuality. Like, some people prefer, you know, not having the bling, same colors and the same thing as everybody else. And they're kind of forcing that upon us, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Happen. Keep happening. There you go. So here we're just going to syncopate his spell for one. And as you can see, this stack gets very confusing very, very quickly. I wish they did a better job of realizing the stack. Like V3 I felt did a pretty good job of the stack. And they kind of let that go, which is unfortunate. Like, I think when you get something that's as complicated as the stack organized well, you should leave it be. Then I really, you know, it's nice that you can collapse some of this stuff. I really wish you could dock chat. Like, if there's a way to just dock it instead of where you either have to have it closed or open, that would be really, really nice. Also adjust the card size, or you can hit auto size cards, which seems a lot easier. He's low enough here that I'm going to go ahead and attack in. And see how it turns sideways? Like, that's pretty cool. I enjoy that. I'm going to go ahead and play a Delver. Yeah, basically he can't kill me at this point, so I'm fine with him attacking. I'm at 20 health, he's at 6. I'm pretty sure no matter what he played right there, I'd be fine. Yeah, Electromancer's fine. You can still auto-yield, which is nice. Where's my reveal cards? No. And the reason it's looking like I'm misplaying part of the time here is because I don't have stops normally set in those phases, and it's making me put stops. And so I had to fix that. And I don't have a sideboard, so we're just going to submit deck. I didn't even realize this was a match, which is another, downside to the beta, is it's not very clear on a lot of things. Like, it does auto default instead of just saying, oh, hey, here's your deck. You want to play one game, you want to play 2 games. It doesn't give you the options list as an automatic pull-up. You had to go through and filter everything. Like, I think just for fun should always be set for 1 game and not a match. Like, that just kind of seems awkward. And you'll notice, like, a lot of things I don't like about the beta, and there's a lot of things I do like. And that's part of A, it being new, and B, it being a work in progress. So again, I had to dock it. I have pretty good hands, so I'm going to keep it. Again, like a chat dock where I could put it, in this area right here on either of these would be really, really nice. Just either that or if I could expand it here and shrink these down. Either of those solutions would be really, really handy for chat. Either that or if they moved this section and the graveyard all together. Popping out the graveyard also would be hugely helpful because like Dredge is pretty much unplayable on this client. And so when it goes to a switch, if that's not a feature, the prices of those cards will probably go like plummet just because the deck's not playable in the way they designed it, where it was completely playable beforehand. And part of that is just they seem to make a lot of changes. Wizards does, just for the sake of making changes with this client. Like, the red zone, I don't feel added any element to the game that was missing beforehand. Like, it didn't make the game better. All it did was make it a little bit more friendly for, like, Duels of the Planeswalker users. Or, I guess if you were coming straight from paper Magic, it could be a little bit easier. But I don't think it was, like, enough to warrant that big of a change for current users. There's a lot of new player initiative which is a good thing. Um, because new players are important, but also your old customers are important too. And I think it's kind of a travesty if you turn your back on them. You know, the other thing that you'll notice is the more I play on the beta, the better I get at it, which is why I try to play at least a couple of games every week on the beta, just for pure usability's sake. Um, because we're eventually going to have to switch on to this. So the best thing we can do is make Wizards very aware of our concerns of the areas that they're lacking for the product that we pay for and the areas that we like, because both things are important. You know, it's important to get what you like and for them to acknowledge what you like, because then they can do more of it. But it's also very important if you make aware of, oh, hey, look, this is bad and you need to fix it, because you know, they can't do anything if we don't give them good feedback, which is crucial. So remember that anytime that you're filling out like forum posts, or if you submit the what you like, if you're looking for the beta code, because they ask for that, it's right here at the very bottom. That's the number they're looking for. And you can tell them what you do like and what you don't like. Like already instantly I noticed a change in the background, and it's a lot more pleasant now than it was. Like it was very, very poorly done the first time. Um, the original Gideon theme that they had. And I understand that they want one theme because it makes it easier, but if they would open up themes for us to do, we could get the variation that we want, that they were trying to give us, and we can do it a lot more effectively than Wizards can, because there's a lot of individual programmers that enjoy doing customization, stuff like that. And I think it's, you know, it would be hugely helpful for Wizards and for us as users to implement that. Going to target unsummon. So in response to him targeting, because he only has one blue mana, I'm going to go ahead and cast my Helix on Gutter Snipe, because he can't use the unsummon yet. So it makes him use one or the other. He either has to use the unsummon, or he has to counter it. Or he's just going to Searing Spear me, which is fine. I just don't want to deal with that Gutter Snipe anymore. It's annoying. And see, even though I have blockers took out of my phase, I can still respond to anything he casts, which is why I like it this particular way. Playing another Gutter Snipe. The other thing I wish they'd fix with Hybrid is if you have 3 mana already laid out, it just do it. Where you don't have to click exactly how you want to pay. That's pretty annoying. That's a V3 thing that should have translated over smoother than it has. Okay, almost any way he slices it right here, I win the game. So there's a game. The store, you can click on what you want, which isn't super effective. You can see it's kind of all over the place. When you hit event ticket, it should just be tickets. It shouldn't be all this other stuff that's included in it. Trading is pretty awful. I hope trading sees a lot of attention once it is done with. You know, this used to have a, and that's with my full treatment animated. It doesn't look as good on this client as it did in the old one. You can barely tell the difference, which is disappointing. It used to look a lot better than that. That's one of the changes that they made that I don't think looks so good. But see, here's where you can set up. Undo is Control Z on this one, where it was Control U, which I guess makes sense. But I can change that back. See, this is supposed to be zoom card, context menu, primary action. Okay, they took it from where you used to double click. Oh, now it works. It just doesn't work in duels. And then you can hold it down. Okay, that's neat. But anyway, that's just a look at beta. This is what the best feature of V3 by far is feature tournaments. And but I hope you enjoyed that little preview of beta, and I'll talk to you guys later.